Okay. So,
ST Stone
Temple Pilots. So the kids on bikes, like I said, it was a little slow starting. We did the collaborative world building bit and talked about rumors and all that, and created characters and talked about character relationships and the way that you do, which was all well and good. And we determined that our group of intrepid teenagers, all 14, 15-year-old kids, like to hang out in was it your basement?
Yeah.
It was your basement. Steve's basement, who is you're
the slacker.
You're the laid back slacker.
Laid back slacker.
We've got Mike, who is Mike has what was your character? Was it it wasn't Sean, was it?
I don't recall.
I don't remember. But yeah, you're the loner weirdo. And then Isaac, appropriately, as the only actual 14-year-old kid in the group, was the funny sidekick. But yeah, they just after we kind of set the scene as being August of 1983. So last couple of weeks of summer coming up, and they'd all stayed up all night, all hopped up on Mountain Dew and sugar, playing video games on the Atari there in Steve's basement, and went down to refuel on snackage on the down at the local 7-Eleven, and on the way there passed by the pawn shop, which is called I forget what I call it. I wrote it down in my notes, but yeah, they passed by the
Mitzi's pawn shop.
Yeah, Mitzi's pawn shop that has the front window smashed in.
Ugh.
And Mitzi's out there cursing up a blue streak because some damn kids smashed in her window, and she gets to talking to these guys, and not only has the window smashed in, but somebody's graffitied the shop all over the inside, written in what looks like coal. It's coming over and over and over, all over the inside of the shop.
But there was nothing stolen.
There's nothing stolen.
Whoa.
And then these guys...
Tinfoil hat time, baby.
Yeah. And then she's like, I'll tell you what, if you can figure out which one of your hoodlum peers has done this thing, because it has to be those damn kids, I'll hook you up with something from my shop. And, it's a pawn shop, so they got all typical pawn shop fare. There's guns and jewelry and, power tools and crap, and the wall full of, guitars. And
dude, have you seen that Key and Peele with the pawn shop? Yeah, I'll watch it later.
I'll watch it later. Yeah. and so you guys, and then you headed off to 7-Eleven and you talked to Carl at the 7-Eleven about stuff that was going on, and that was an interesting and fun scene. Yeah, and what was his name? The old man?
Spence.
Old man Spence, who came in and got his coffee and 2 packs of Pall Mall. So he was like, and he obviously is unimpressed with the kids and heads out all grouchy like, and then they get an idea to go and check out the jewelry store. Well, is anything coming?
Well, no, we first went back to the pawn shop.
Yeah, that pawn
shop.
Like,
we need to go look around inside and see if there's anything strange. And we asked her asked Mitzi if there was anything that had come in that anybody had sold in the last few days that was weird, and I spotted this necklace.
Choker.
A choker.
Choker with a medallion on it.
Really strange choker with a medallion made out of some sort of black metal.
It looks like metal, but it's not metal.
Yeah, we took it to the jeweler.
Yeah, we took it down to the jeweler, and the jeweler's like, yeah, I don't know what this is.
And it has this rune on it.
Ooh, that's cool.
That's kind of where we left it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Record it next time.
Yeah, that's the plan. Right. And it wasn't a full session. The actual play was maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Sure,
that's
cool.
But yeah,
we quite a bit
one day.
Yeah, but next time.
And next time we should have. Hopefully, we'll have 2 more players show up, so that'll be good.
Awesome.
So it was just Mike and Will and Isaac this past time, but yeah, we should be adding Jeff and Joe next time. So
cool.
It'll be good. But yeah, that was Kids on Bikes.
Cool. All right, press record.
It's already pressed. We've been recording.
Oh! Stealth record. So we've had a little pause from our Dark Ages game to do Vampire 5 as a fill-in, but what have been your opinions on Vampire 5? It's a new game. Not a lot of...
I have opinions.
What are the opinions?
Yeah. Most of them I already shared with you. I actually think it's fantastic. I like the fact that the difficulty numbers on the dice never change. It's always just 6.
Yeah,
that simplifies things a bit, and I like the critical mechanic.
Yeah.
You know, the way you roll 2 10s and every pair of 10s is 4 successes instead of 2.
Yeah.
And also the way that interacts with with your beast is really cool as well.
Yeah.
And for that matter, the whole mechanic of humanity and stain and hunger, the way those all interact together is really cool.
Yeah.
And you and I have discussed it already, but I think it'd be amazing to apply that to like a bunch of different games. And the obvious choice is like a Cthulhu type game where instead of having hunger, you have trauma, and instead of having humanity, you have sanity. And you know, you take enough trauma, it starts negatively affecting your sanity. You take enough willpower damage, and you just lose it and become either catatonic or just you know, act out in whatever crazy way because you're just too traumatized and you can't even. You know, and I think that'd be badass. And that's on the docket of games for me to run.
Nice.
I think I want to do that maybe after the kids on bikes, and use that kind of as a vehicle to do that for a while, and then maybe ease these other players, aside from Mike and Will, because you guys are already playing it, into possibly a V5 game, or maybe just keep playing, you know, Cthulhuized V5. Would be cool too. That's my take. Yeah, V5 is definitely worthy.
And it's funny that you're talking about running it with other stuff, because I thought about like ice cream scooping the hunger out of it and just using it as a straight like modern day game.
Oh yeah.
Right? Do, you know, like whatever stuff. As you know, I've been wanting to do a Twin Peaks game for a long time, and I would love to use this for my Twin Peaks because it covers all the bases really easily. And I think, Will, you said it right the other day when you said you can tell how good the game is by how easy it is to apply to other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was talking, we were kind of chit-chatting in the car the other day, and we were talking about how using either, like, this would be a great system to use it for, or Delta Green also for doing like an XCOM style game.
Oh,
'Cause,
yeah.
you know, I'm a big XCOM fan.
Oh, yeah,
And,
yeah.
Doing like,
Yeah,
you know,
who
your
else is a big
XCOM
XCOM
team
fan?
hunting down alien threats and trying to prevent an alien invasion.
Yeah, Conspiracy X type
Yeah,
shit. Yeah,
finding
it'd be great
infiltrators
for
and
Conspiracy X. Yeah.
But either V5, which doing with similar to the sanity mechanics like we were talking about, or just the one because Delta Green has the same thing. Because a lot of a big portion of XCOM when you play, especially XCOM 2,
Right.
is your soldiers can get like mental breakdowns.
Mental breakdowns and psychic damage.
And-
Trauma.
Because a lot of the aliens do like psychic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'd be a cool thing to do.
Yeah. And I kind of love the idea of that too, because like one of the biggest disconnects I have with a lot of the high fantasy, like the Pathfinder and the D&D type games, is your character's never affected by anything. It's like the only thing that can really affect you is things that affect your saving throws or your hit points.
Or your attributes.
Or your attributes. It's like, and there's no way to mechanize your character getting messed up because he's seen messed up crap.
Your
Right?
character,
You know?
you're cursed.
Yeah, you're cursed, big deal. You know,
Yeah.
oh no, I'm
Yeah.
legitimately
Where's the paladin?
traumatized
Let's
because
curse.
I was possessed by a ghost and it messed me up, you know. There's no way to play that, and there's no way to mechanize it. And having that in a game, and it's like if you don't have that, it's a disconnect with, you know, the humanity of it. And if you're not telling a story about people, if you're disconnected with humanity, it's not a story about people, and who cares?
Yeah.
Then you might as well just be playing a video game.
Well, it's even better, like you're talking about the way you want to scoop out that mechanic and make it its own thing for your Cthulhu game. Like
Heck yeah.
it works so well because there's also either compels or what did we figure out they were called? There's the mechanic
It's
in
compulsions,
there.
yeah.
Compulsions,
Compulsions.
yeah. You can
Derangements and
you can rewrite that for derangements and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is the thing you're gonna have to figure out how to work into what you're doing so you can stop.
It's not
having
even a
this
super
problem.
fixed thing, right?
It's
Those are just
easy.
suggestions in the book,
Sure.
right?
It's,
In the playtest, they had, you know, like a roll chart, and you would some of the things you would roll on were general vampire things that went funky when you rolled your ones, and then other things were like clan specific. It was cool. I liked it.
yeah, and you can just write those for going a little crazy, a
Yeah,
little loopy.
you could write them for anything.
It'd be-
I wouldn't be surprised if they start like putting that into like alternate play material, like Storyteller's Vault type stuff.
That'd be real cool.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's great. And like, there's so many games that do have some kind of like insanity or derangement mechanics within them that like coming up with lists of them to use is a piece of cake. And so that's really no challenge.
Well, and this is the thing though, is like, here's the problem you have to deal with now,
Yeah.
and this you have to play this out, and here's the thing you need to do to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that straight up mechanizes and like really encourages you
Yeah.
to role
Well, I
play.
mean,
And
let's,
it role plays and it gets into like your press your luck. Like, do you want to do this thing? You've got a bunch of like recent trauma, right? Red dice. I have a bunch of recent trauma. Do you want to go get, psychological help, or, booze up or whatever your
Yeah.
mechanic is in the game that
Self-medicate.
allows you to lower those dice,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or do you want to press your luck and go into the situation and potentially make it worse?
Yeah,
So,
and you could even write it into your character that you have. You could have people have ways that they best decompress and relieve themselves of those trauma dice.
Ooh, yeah, like Blades in the
Trauma
Dark.
die.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
vices.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Mix those two things right.
There we go.
There we go.
Now we'll cook them with
well, the
gas.
great thing about it is when you mechanize it, it kind of twists your arm into role playing. Because if you don't mechanize, I mean, yeah, you could add that kind of stuff to D&D, but you'd have to do it kind of as a just role playing. Which, when it's, let's face it, when it's just role playing, players are gonna quote unquote forget to do it,
Yeah,
and
they'll forget
it's
to
not
do it,
gonna
or
be a
they'll be
thing.
like, "Oh, well, I'm the most edgelordiest of edgelords, so it doesn't affect me
I
Uh-huh.
hate that.
because I'm so awesome."
I
you know.
hate that.
Yeah. Whereas, if it's mechanized,
You have a mechanic,
you're like,
right?
you've got a mechanical effect that's on you. Are you just going to be like, I roll fewer dice? No, it encourages you to go, no, I'm rolling fewer dice because I'm severely traumatized by my previous events.
Yeah, but you're not rolling less dice in this
You-
instance,
you know,
which
the
is so
other-
great. What's so great about it?
Yeah. Or whatever.
You're rolling
whatever
different
the
dice,
mechanic
yeah,
is.
wonky
Yeah.
dice. Yeah.
The other thing is, like, if you're talking about using it specifically in a Cthulhu type game, that's amazing because, like, one of the big beefs I have with, again, the Pathfinder, D&D, whatever, all those kind of games, is that players never hesitate to throw themselves in head first into whatever kind of crazy crap is happening because they're like, I'll just roll some dice and I'll win. But if you're like, no, I'm not gonna go in there because I'll be horribly traumatized. And
Yeah.
it's gonna like it gives people an incentive to actually role play the natural human apprehension and fear that you'd have.
And that happens in normal Call of Cthulhu,
Yeah, it does.
but having the press your luck mechanic changes
Yeah.
things,
And
and it
also-
makes it more active, right? So if you're
And
trying
you're
to play,
rolling D10s all the time as pools instead of percentiles, and that's better.
wah wah.
See you, Mike. Mike
see
is
you, Mike.
leaving us.
Mike is leaving.
See you Monday.
But what I was getting at is like, so if you have the straight like sanity loss that you just get when you play regular Call of Cthulhu, right? That simulates this like harsh, world that doesn't give a crap about you, and if you go do the bad things happen. Period. But if you have the press your luck, it kind of creates a situation where you might make it and you might not. So it almost
Yeah.
gives it a little bit more of a pulpy or a little bit more action feel, which makes it even better for Delta Green.
Yeah.
Because you might be able to just soldier through that shit.
Yeah, and it'd be super easy to just, the way I would roll it, I think, is it would be like, instead of humanity, you have sanity. And, in the same way that you get rid of stain, if you fail to get rid of trauma, you lose sanity, right? The same thing happens. But also, like, that's seeing normal or even not so normal messed up crap. Like, oh, I just saw a Shoggoth. I'm traumatized. I may lose sanity. I read a page out of the Necronomicon. I lose sanity, period, automatically. You know?
I made a visit to the Cathedral of Flesh. I'm
Oh,
full on crazy.
You
Crazy now.
make a visit to Cathedral of Flesh, you probably lose 2 points of sanity.
Well, yeah, I think it'd be amazing as being ported into other games. Do you guys have anything to add about playing it as is?
Oh, playing it in Vampire? Yeah, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I like the flexibility of the disciplines as they're currently written.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's definitely different. That said, I really looking forward to getting back to Dark Ages.
Yeah.
But, once schedules and health and everything provide.
I hadn't forgot it. I ain't throwing my notes away. You can better believe that.
Once we decide to go back to Dark Ages.
So, if that's all we had to add about our opinions, I think, dear John, sir, it is high time that you told the grand high tale of your first, and then compared and contrast with your most recent experience with Vampire the Masquerade,
So my for those just tuning in, that
we've
don't
told
know
this
us
story many
personally-
times, but I think it'd be funny as hell to get it out
It's a
there.
fantastic story. Alan and I have known each other for many years, for like 16 years.
Yeah.
Right? Because, since before my oldest was born. And for most of those years, Alan has been trying to convince me to play Vampire, to which I vehemently responded, no, I have no interest in doing that. I don't want to play undead beasts.
There was slightly more
because-
variety than that. There was like no and hell no, and there was screw you and never.
No. I like you, dude, but take that idea and piss off.
Yeah. That's more the
To
tone.
give even
that I
more
remember.
backstory, I mean, we played Werewolf a lot back in the day.
We did
Yeah.
play
And
Werewolf back in
So
the
there
day.
was kind of also a bias against Vampire from that, in addition to
we
the bad experience.
we may or may not have had some friends with ill-informed opinions on vampires and how cool they are as compared to werewolves. And, if you're talking about a fight, a werewolf destroys the vampire at the end.
Yeah.
Unless they're
Every
old
vampire player knows
vampires.
that. Unless you're really
they're
well prepared
old.
with a bunch of silver.
Yeah,
and fire.
but that's not how vampires fight.
Sometimes they
So-
do. Sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do.
We did kill him. We did kill him.
When appropriate, yes.
By we, I mean him.
So my initial exposure to playing Vampire was back in the mid-90s when it was in its heyday. And I had never played it, and I went to, at the invite of one of my friends, went and played with the group, and the entire session consisted of, here, assign some dots, make a character, and then your new character is dominated by one of the other player's characters, and then the whole thing descends into a whole lot of dick measuring and I am cooler than you because X, Y, and Z. And it was a complete shit show and completely antithetical to any kind of new player experience you would want a person to have if you want them to come back in game ever again. And so I was
And not
like,
just that game at all.
at all, yes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, by that point in my life, I had already been playing role-playing games for like 8 years, so I was
Wasn't completely scared out of the hobby.
No, I was like,
But otherwise would have been.
oh yeah, if that was my first ever RPG, I would have been like, no, I'd rather sit in my room and read the dictionary. It's more fun than that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to play that. That's a waste of time. It's horrible. And if that's a representation of the people playing it, they're horrible. So, yeah. And then, so continue on to nigh onto 20 years later when we finally start playing Vampire Dark Ages. And we've been playing that for like, how many years now? It's because we started playing over
Including all the gaps, it's like almost 2.
Yeah, it's almost 2 years, and the last couple of months or a couple of weeks, months, whatever, V5 all added to that as well, and it's great. And I started out kind of like, because I played Vampire once, I knew squat about Vampire, and when we started the Dark Ages game, that was kind of where we were at as players too, because none of us had played Vampire, and so the introduction to it was kind of like was actually in the game, in character, about as horrifying as you'd imagine it would be, but it was great because you're like, this is what I imagined being a person that becomes a vampire. This is the experience they're going to have.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but you're compelled to see like how you persevere in those circumstances. How do you survive in this crazy world you've been thrown into where you're now an undead beast, and particularly for me, was playing a character whose shtick was, he was a knight of the Order of St. Lazarus. He was a hospitaller. He's a religious man of God. He's out there to fight the good fight and help people, and now he's an undead monster. Oh, and his whole clan is all about waiting for the return of Set.
To take over the dark, but to become the dark lord and take over the world.
Yeah, take over the world, take over everything.
Yeah,
and
to do it through sin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, through corruption.
Make them all sin.
And it was so vastly different from that first experience, and it was great. And never looked back. I'm like, if this is what playing Vampire is like, then I'm glad I waited this long to play it again.
when I got into playing with the Dark Ages game, I came in later, obviously, and my experience with Vampire was basically I had bought the Dark Ages book back in the 90s, the original Dark Ages book, and so I'd read a lot of that. And then the same experience that you had, obviously. I didn't play in that game that you were talking about, but we did have other experiences with those guys.
Yep.
And it was very similar.
Oh, and they were famous for liking the game, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, you're a new player? I dominate you because that's funny.
Yeah.
And
you have to do what I say now.
And other than that, the only experience I had was from playing Bloodlines on the PC.
Yeah.
Which is admittedly pretty good.
Bloodlines.
I mean, it teaches you a lot about the game.
Yeah.
Even though the mechanics are completely different, but it teaches you a lot about the game. So, yeah, I knew a little bit more coming into it, but.
Well, it's definitely been like the fun part of for me anyways, the fun part of the Dark Ages has been digging into that like freaking never-ending lore. World. It's and between that and then watching John want to be a hero because John has to play heroes, and then he has slowly let go of that. Has been fun too.
He's a different kind of hero.
Yeah, he's a different kind of hero, but like let go of some of that stuff, which is really interesting to watch. Like both mechanically and like as a player, he is playing that different thing. I'm obviously a lot more interested in playing the kind of the anti-hero or the kind of darker guy. So it's interesting to watch the guy that's like, nope, I'm gonna be hospitable.
I'm gonna be that. Well, dude, yeah. I mean, that's the character, man. Mm-hmm. And it's cool as a player, like when you get into the character, to see the way that that the character you're playing develops in ways you didn't expect.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like role playing. I hope if you're not getting that, maybe you're not role playing, right?
Agreed.
There have legitimately been moments that we've talked about where I was like, I didn't think that I would feel that strongly about this particular thing. You know, that's kind of crazy that happened. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that happened to me in my Invisible Sun game last week too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something happened, and I was all like, if you had asked Alan how he would react to this, I'd be like, yeah, okay, those guys are jerks. But when it happened and I was in character, he came to just this completely different conclusion that I was like, I didn't see that happening. Like, I didn't realize that my character was in that much grief. Like, wow, but turns out he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between playing a character and playing a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting too. I mean, like playing
a character sheet.
playing a character instead of a sheet.
Yes.
Lifar on the surface, you know, he's a Viking. You know, he was a family man, then lost all that, became a vampire, survived on his own for a while, and joined the little group, and then just when he gets put in charge of Klausenberg.
Yep.
How
whoa.
I mean, at first he's kind of, you know, benevolent dictator type, and then when he realizes people are starting to move into his territory, he starts getting brutal. And and the undesirables are there when people start coming in, and he's telling them to leave, and they're not leaving, and bad things happen.
Mm-hmm. That beast comes out.
Ruthless things. That beast comes out.
Not much of a family man anymore.
No. And he's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And
well, he's hardly that beast character anymore either.
No, not really.
Yeah.
No. He's sort of taken the completely letting go of the whole path of humanity thing fairly early compared to the rest of the group. The rest of the group eventually did too, but taking a different mindset.
I think there's a lot of games that can allow this kind of like more I don't want to say narrative, but like character focused play. But I really have yet to experience one that does as good a job as the World of Darkness games. All of them. Mm-hmm. Like, there's something about that combination of multiple avenues of action in conjunction with a huge breadth of setting that just makes space for characters to exist and then develop and change.
Yeah.
You know, I think that for me, the thing is that every one of the really every one of the storyteller games at its core is designed to really amplify an aspect of human nature. Like in Exalted, for instance, it's the desire to be a hero, to be a legend. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
Man, you play the hell out of that.
Glory.
And it is fantastic.
Yeah.
And in in Werewolf, it's kind of that desire to be.
Well, it's
To protect the world.
it's protecting, and it's also like rage and vengeance.
Yeah, to be that primal spirit of vengeance.
Because it's a lot less of like, let's go save the nation, and much more like, what did they do? They will pay.
And in Vampire, it's like literally, especially if you're playing Path of Humanity, that is, it's the things, and V5 in general, it's the things that tie you to humanity to keep you from becoming subsumed by the beast. And honestly, that's kind of one of the reasons I so badly want to play some damn Wraith. Because
Oh my god.
I love a good ghost stories because
Oh my
ghost
God.
stories are all about emotion. They're all about, they're all about the loss. They're
Wraith
about,
is so good at that.
Yeah, they're about the
Wraith
things
makes
that-
you fucking absolutely care beyond a shadow of a doubt if somebody can reconcile with their estranged parents.
Yeah.
Like that becomes the most important thing in the world.
Because you're a damn Wraith. That's all that's left.
Yeah.
So of course it's.
But it's cool to watch the players care.
Yeah.
Like if that were in like your classical fantasy game, it'd be like, oh, that's nice.
I turn the ghost. Make your turn check.
No, I'm just talking about like, let's say you got a ghost and you have a spouse and you want your spouse to reconcile with their parents, right? Like just the player orchestrating and trying to make that happen, like the amount of crap that a Wraith player will do to make that happen is astounding.
Yeah.
Like they'll make it a whole story. It'll be a whole thing, right? You do that in your classical fantasy game and it's all like, I'm going to talk to her and tell her she should try to reconcile with her wife or with her parent, and then go to the parent and be like, I think you should reconcile with your child.
That's it.
I roll
Okay.
diplomacy.
Done.
Oh, that was a nice little side quest.
Yeah. Not very exciting. Yeah, we gotta play some Wraith.
That game's gonna be great, dude.
Heck yeah. I got a book in there collecting dust.
All my books are collecting dust. What are you trying to say?
Trying to say we need to dust that one off, Holmes.
One of these days.
Yep.
Let's wreck some Inquisition first.
Wreck some Inquisition. We gotta wreck some Inquisition.
You guys are gonna wreck them real quiet too, which is kind of cool. I'm kind of like glee. I'm like rubbing my hands behind the proverbial screen over here. I'm like, woo.
It's not a real one ever.
I'm not getting in a fight with them because I'm not that cool.
No, I can't do that. It's bad.
You could take those gunshots like a mother crapper, though.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, until they ain't got regular guns.
It's all in the game, so they got the friggin'
Tons of them.
incendiary rounds and crap.
Really, I just got to use demontation to fight.
Yeah.
So that's my strat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, it's good times. All right. I think we got all the exposition we want tonight.
Sure, why not?
All right.